We warmly welcome you all to another exciting episode of the webinar series conducted by Ardent Immigration Inc. together with the Ardent Law Group, Road to PR in Canada. I would like to start off by saying good evening to all those who are joining with us from Canada, and a very good morning to those who are joining today from Sri Lanka. First and foremost, my name is Kaumadi. I will be hosting the seminar, the webinar today, and our speaker today is, as all of you know, Mr. Sachira Vimalavira, a regulated Canadian immigration consultant, as well as barrister and solicitor. So we will be conducting the webinar. Mr. Sachira will be going through all the pathways that are available for the Saskatchewan immigration PR pathways. And then we will be opening the floor for you all to ask questions, if any. So we encourage you guys to, if you have questions, put them on the chat for us to get a clear idea of the questions, and then we can address them at the end in a proper and organized manner. So without taking a lot of time for the introduction, but I will take a few minutes of your time to give a brief introduction about ourselves. I believe most of you all would have joined with us in previous webinars, and you all might know us, but we are Ardent Law Group and Ardent Immigration. As I said earlier, we do all kinds of visas to Canada, and we also take on cases regarding refugee inadmissibility sort of cases as well. And in terms of the law group, we handle on civil litigation mainly, family law, employment law, commercial law. If you have any questions relating to legal issues in Canada, you all can contact us. And next, I would just give a brief outline of today's webinar. First, we will be laying a brief introduction about the nominee streams available in the Saskatchewan province. And we'll also talk about the international skilled worker categories, skilled worker with existing work permits, student categories, entrepreneur categories, and then we will go on to the Q&A session. So again, if you all can put your questions in the chat now itself, we will be able to put them, line them up for Mr. Sachira to answer for you all at the end. So I will hand over the floor to Mr. Sachira to continue, and hopefully you will have an interactive session, and you'll get to learn a lot about the pathways available in Saskatchewan for you to apply for PR. Over to you, Mr. Sachira.
Hi all. I hope you all can hear me. Okay.
Yeah, can hear Mr.
Okay, perfect. So mainly I'll start with all the nominee streams available in Saskatchewan. And first of all, so welcome you all. I know there are many, I would say, people they're joining from inside Canada and also from outside Canada. So from this webinar, what we are mainly planning to do is give you all an idea about all the available streams in Saskatchewan, right? Especially for like let's say someone on work permit inside Canada, or if you are a student in Canada, or if you are an entrepreneur, right? Maybe inside Canada, maybe outside Canada, for you all to have a better idea about like how you can plan your immigration plan till the PR. As a law firm and also an immigration firm, we always help our clients, whatever the visa stream they start, maybe student visa, maybe work permits, maybe visitor visa, and then eventually they convert to work permits. We help them till they are PR. So without any delay, so we'll start with overall this nominee streams overview. First of all, when it comes to SINP, Saskatchewan Immigration Nominee Program, it mainly allows Saskatchewan to nominate all the eligible immigrants for permanent residence to meet all the labor market shortage and also the economic needs. So that's regardless of streams, this is the main target of any province having their own provincial nominee programs. So earlier we did a PNP program, like a webinar for BC. So they have their own streams. If you have joined, you might remember regarding for technology side, basically, and also for the healthcare sectors, and also they had for unskilled workers, like that. So when it comes to Saskatchewan, they want to get the skilled workers outside Canada, outside the other provinces, and also from inside Canada, they want to make them permanent residences. So when we get the skilled worker program, there are 6 categories regarding that. I will be discussing about, talking about, explaining about all the 6 categories separately. So this is for those who has the working experience in high demand occupation. If you have a job offer, there are higher possibility, but there are streams even without job offers as well in Saskatchewan. When it comes to the workers who has the work permits, maybe you are on LMIA-based work permit, maybe you are on Francophone work permit, maybe you're on open work permit, all right? Basically for individuals who are already working in Saskatchewan, who want to transition for a permanent residency, those programs are for you. When it comes to students, they're giving opportunity, even though you were studying outside Saskatchewan, or even though you were studying in Saskatchewan, still those international graduates from the Saskatchewan and the other Canadian provinces who wish to live and stay permanently in Saskatchewan, they give that opportunity to apply for the PR. I know, like, there are many candidates even after the previous webinar, BC PNP. Many students, workers spoke to us and they join, like they call us for consultation, asking, like, what are the provinces which is best to move to get the PR, which is easily and quickly get the PR, because some of them are like at the edge of their work permit expiration, like expiring. Another thing for the entrepreneurs, in order to increase their economic values, Saskatchewan want to bring entrepreneurs, I mean the business owners or the senior managers who want to start or buy a business in Saskatchewan. So these are the main categories. So let's talk about, like I mentioned, the international skill worker category. Before that, I'll talk about a little bit about EOI. EOI we call the expression of interest. That means you express your interest further in order to become a permanent resident in Saskatchewan. That's what we call EOI. So when it comes to this EOI, regardless of whatever the streams in Saskatchewan, except one program that which I will be explaining down the road for the farm operator entrepreneur program, except that program, every other program you should create a EOI. We call, like I said, expression of interest. When it comes to this profile, when you create like you basically put all your details, age, like your language qualification, your education qualification, working experience, or if you have connections to the province, like the family members. So those kind of things, you'll be putting those information. Like same way you're creating a Facebook profile. You put your date and birth, those kind of information. So you basically create a profile. It usually valid, basically valid for 1 year. But the other thing is you can create an EOI only for one stream. Let's say, for example, you cannot create both, let's say for a candidate called Amal, he cannot create two profiles under tech talent pathway and under the occupation in demand pathway. You cannot do like that. You can have just one active EOI profile system at any time. Then what Promise is going to do, they're going to rank your profile based on the information you provided. So then when they conducting draws, highest ranked candidates, they're going to invite to apply for the SINP. So once you receive the invitation to apply, we call ITA, you got 60 days to submit your complete online application. That means you should provide the documents to prove the information that you include when you're creating the profile, when you're applying for the EOI. So if you are invited, what you should do is you can use the same login information that you created for EOI, and then you can upload those documents. In case, if once you receive the invitation, if you want to change the details, then what you should do is you should update the profile. In order to update at that point, you should cancel your EOI. Then you have to resubmit your profile with the new information. So let's say, for example, your marriage status change. You married or you divorced. Then you have to change those information in that way. When it comes to Saskatchewan Nominee Program, they limit their selection of EOI. They give priority for the occupation. So the reason why, then the nomination do not exceed the employment demand, because they have high skill categories, but there are some streams which even allow the low skill categories like the tier 4 or 5, but they give priority for the high skill categories. So when you talk about the size and the frequency of the EOI selection, it mainly based on the labor market need, the provincial priorities, and the number of application process since the last EOI selection. So this is regarding the EOI for you guys to get an idea. Now, first we'll talk about the international skilled worker category. So when it comes to this international skilled worker category, like I mentioned previously, there were 6 subcategories, like the employment offer, and also the agriculture talent pathway, and then the health talent pathway, and then the tech talent pathway, occupation in demand pathway, and Saskatchewan express entry pathway. First, we'll talk about this employment offer pathway. When we talk about this employment offer pathway, first of all, you can understand even from the name, you should have a job offer for a skill occupation. Skill occupation means tier 0, 1, 2, 3 occupation in Saskatchewan. When you receive this job offer, one thing that you have to mention is some job offers, employers willing to give 1 year or 2 years, because they want to see how well this employee is working. Based on that, they want to extend. Those kind of job offers do not going to work for you. Those job offer should be a permanent job offer, and also for a full-time job. Now, most of our client, based on our experience, they got some confusion about when it comes to full-time, how many working hours need to be included. According to the SINP, 30 hours per week, they consider as full-time. So when it comes to this job offer, these employers should register with SINP usually most of the employers, yes, they should provide the job approval letter. And the other thing is, you should have most of all the streams that you have, you should show you have an intention to reside in Saskatchewan as a permanent resident. The reason why provinces came across sometimes most of some immigrants, they move to Saskatchewan just to get the permanent residency, just to secure permanent residency. And then once they get the PR, they're going to move to another province. Reason why, like I said, the reason why a province gonna nominate and then help them to get the PR in Canada, they need their skills to increase their economy in the province. So you need to kind of sign a commitment that you have an intention to reside in Saskatchewan even after becoming a permanent resident. And the other thing is, at least you should have 1 year working experience in past 10 years in the intended occupation. Let's say, for example, you're coming as a, for a different, let's say, farming operator or something. Then you need to have 1 year working experience. But when it comes to farming operator, it falls under different subcategory, which I will be discussing. And when it comes to the CLB level, the CLB level gonna be minimum CLB should be 4. That I will be that I'll discuss about the CLB level later, because some clients, they want to they like to sit for the CELPIP exam. Some people PTE some for the IELTS, which I'll be discussing what kind of a score that you need to meet this CLB 4. But what I would recommend is this minimum CLB 4 for you to eligible for the program. That doesn't mean that you're gonna receive the invitation. In order to receive the invitation, you better have higher IELTS. But I always recommend for client, try to get CLB 7, each band 7 or higher. If you get higher IELTS for listening, then your scores gonna go high. So when it comes to the job offer, like I said, since this is they want to get the skill occupation, it should be in tier 0, 1, 2, 3. But basically for if you are in food and beverage servers or the truck drivers or the healthcare occupation, then when you're creating the EOI, you should select a different subcategory, because those immigrants who received the job offer under those categories, they have a different subcategory. So like I said, you can have just one active profile in those categories. So the next one, we'll talk about the agriculture talent pathway. When it comes to the agriculture talent pathway, this is for the clients who got working experience in agriculture field. I'll be discussing some example NOCs, like example job occupations for this pathway. So even in this pathway, you need to have an approved job offer in Saskatchewan. So minimum English requirement should be CLB 4. Also, you should have the minimum education level gonna be completed secondary school, that means the high school, or the higher level education. But if you have, let's say, for example, you live in outside Canada and you have a job offer in Saskatchewan, then you should get the VES evaluation for your education qualification. When it comes to the working experience, you should have at least 1 year full-time working experience in past 3 years. So this is very important. There are some categories, they're going to count your 1 year working experience in past 10 years. Some categories, they need your working experience in past 3 years. The reason why, let's say, for example, if what this stream need is, you need to have very recent working experience. Sometimes with the time being, you might totally forget, your skills and everything. So they need your recent working experience. So that's why they need your working experience to be within last 3 years. If you have 1 year, that's totally fine. And basically, this should be for an intended occupation. This is for someone who's applying from outside Canada. But if you're applying from inside Canada, if you're currently working, you need only 6 months working experience. And also, you should attest that your intention to work and reside in Saskatchewan. And also the job offer that you receive, like I mentioned, it should be a permanent job offer. And also it should be a full-time job offer in the agricultural sector in Saskatchewan. So like I previously promised, if I bring your attention about the sample, like the examples for occupations, those are going to be the material handlers. You may be specialized livestock workers and farm machinery operators. Then the livestock laborers, harvesting laborers, and the nursery and the greenhouse laborers. You may be a process control and the machine operator. Let's say you are an industry butcher and the meat cutter. And also the testers and graders. Or if you are a mechanical assembler and inspector, and also the laborers in food and beverage processing. If you have a job offer in this category, then you're going to fall under these streams. I do not wish to talk about the NOC code, because when I say that NOC code, you might not familiar. So when I mentioned about the job occupation, I believe you are much familiar with the job occupation if you have working experience in this category. Because if you mainly apply from outside Canada, mostly outside Canada, they are not familiar with the NOC codes, because these NOC codes are specifically to inside Canada, for the immigration system. If you apply from India, Nepal, Bangladesh, or Sri Lanka, we are not much familiar with these NOC codes. So the next stream, so this is regarding first two stream, we talk about the employment offer and the agricultural talent pathway. So if you have a skill, like a job offer in the skill category, employment offer, you can apply through that, but there are exceptions, like I mentioned. And then if you have a job offer in the agricultural side, like I mentioned, the occupation, then you're lucky, you can apply through that stream. So we'll talk about the health talent pathway. This pathway is very popular. As you know, there are basically Canada, they give priority for healthcare workers. As you know, there are new program coming on. They're going to open on March 31st. I'll be discussing it a little bit more down the road. So they give priority for healthcare workers. We're doing work permits for caregivers, especially the AIP program, nursing aid, like that. So this program, Saskatchewan want to attract health talent, people who are on healthcare category, health sector. You may be a dentist, you may be a nursing practitioner, like that. So this stream is for you. So if I talk about this stream, one of an interesting point is there are a few other streams. There are non-express entry stream, and other one is the express entry stream. So you can basically understand from the name, non-express entry stream is, let's say for example, you do not have an express entry profile. Still you can apply for the stream. So the express entry profile, on the other hand, you should have an express entry profile, then you can apply for that. Then someone can think, okay, then why someone cannot create an express entry profile? The key point is the language requirement. Let's say, for example, you stay in outside Canada, you could not still achieve the each band 7 or higher, then you become ineligible to apply for the express entry. Still, you can apply for that program. That means you cannot create an express entry profile, maybe because of some other reasons, or maybe because of your language requirement, those kind of things. So when it comes to this non-express entry stream, you may qualify for this subcategory. Like I said, if you live outside Canada, or if you have proof of the legal status in Canada. So your English requirement should be at least CLB5. So if you have a CLB5, you cannot create an express entry profile if you're outside Canada, because at least you need to have CLB7, each band 7 or higher. And the other requirements are for this non-express entry stream. Let's say, for example, if you are living in Saskatchewan with an eligible employer, you have a job approval letter, you need just 6 months to apply for this program. And the other benefit is this working experience do not need to be consecutive working experience. What that means? Let's say, for example, you work with one employer 2 years. That employer, that relationship didn't go well. Then employer fired you, or you quit the job. Then you found a job in unskilled or whatever stream. Let's say you work as a dishwasher at a restaurant. I'm taking as an example. Luckily, you got again a different employer job offer. You work for another 4 years. Then it's calculating 4 months. 4 months, and then so 2 months plus 4 months. Now you can apply for this program. So that means your work experience does not have to be continuous. But let's say, for example, you have a job offer from a Saskatchewan eligible employer in agricultural employer. You are outside Canada, then you should have at least 1 year working experience within 5 years in the occupation. So when it comes to the education, you should have the post-secondary education related to job that been offered. Your education should not related to any other occupation. Let's say, for example, you have an MBA. No, it's not gonna go. So you should have the post-secondary education related to this job that has been offered. And also you should attest that you have an intention to work and reside in Saskatchewan. This job offer should be a permanent job offer, full-time job offer in the healthcare sector in Saskatchewan. If I mentioned about few job occupation for you to get an idea, you can go to the PNP website. It mentioned, I'll share at the end of this webinar, the screen share with you the PDF that mentioned about those occupation. For example, if you're a dentist, if you're a like a pharmacist, chiropractor, nursing coordinator and supervisors, if you're a nurse practitioner, pharmacy technician, massage therapist, or you are a medical laboratory assistant, like a related technical occupations, home support worker, and the caregiver and related occupation. The reason why I mentioned about this home support worker and the caregiver related occupation, there is an exception. Let's say, for example, you're working as a home support worker or a caregiver, but you reside in your employer's residence, then you will not be eligible for this program. Reason why? Reason is, for you guys, let's say you are a home support worker or a home child care support worker, you're residing in the employer's residence, you have the home care worker immigration pilot program, which will be opening on March 31st, 2025. Since I mentioned about this program is mainly for, let's say, for example, if my parents living with me, if I want to bring someone from outside Canada, I can use that program. Then I'm going to be the employer. It's not just giving a job offer. They are going to be a separate government form to fill. I had to mention my CRA information, my SIN number. Then immigration going to see, the federal government going to see whether I have enough income to hire someone from outside Canada as a home support worker or the home child care support worker. This is for people to work inside, like in-house. We call the nanny program. So that term nanny would give a good idea about that. So basically you will be coming to work in houses, not at a home care facility like that. For people who working at the home care facilities, you have the caregiver program. So I believe you got a better idea about this non-express stream in the health talent pathway. And also regarding this home care worker immigration pilot, myself and Ms. Kamudi, we did two videos regarding that in our YouTube. You can go and watch that one. So Ms. Kamudi talked about the overview about the program, and then I spoke about the what kind of documents especially need, especially when you guys proving your working experience. If you are working from outside Canada, what are the documents that you should bring to immigration officers' attention to prove your working experience? If you are applying from inside Canada with the working experience for direct PR, what are the documents that you should bring to immigration officers' attention to prove that you have the working experience? As you know, like if you're going to apply for any streams to prove your working experience, you should show the immigration officer that you have skill, training, and education to perform that job. So that's regarding the non-express entry. So we'll go back to health talent pathway express entry stream. So when it comes to the express entry stream, you should have the express entry profile for sure. And also, when you create an express entry profile, you're going to receive a valid express entry profile number and also a job seeker code. I'll show you one of a client that who received the invitation and who got the PR recently. When we create the express entry profile, these documents that he received, then I can show you where you can find this express entry profile number and the job seeker code. And your English requirement or the French requirement should be CLB 7. Like I said, you should have this English level to create an express entry profile. So if you're applying from inside or outside Canada, you should have 1 year of high skill related work experience in past 5 years in your intended eligible occupation. And also, let's say, for example, based on your occupation, if a license required, then you should be eligible for those licensing. And also, you should have the post-secondary education related to the job that you have been offered. In this way, like let's say, for example, if you are applying from outside Canada, then yeah, you should have the VEST evaluation. You should attest that you have an intention to work and reside in Saskatchewan even after becoming a permanent resident. And also, if you have a job offer, the job offer should be a permanent job offer, full-time in the health sector job in Saskatchewan. So this is regarding the health talent pathway. So next, we'll talk about another interesting pathway. Is very, very competitive pathway. This is for the tech talent pathway. If you are in IT field, this pathway is for you. So in order to eligible for this pathway also they have the non-express entry and the express entry. So when it comes to the this pathway, this is for the you should have a job offer for the high skill occupation in Saskatchewan. Even though you live in Canada, if you live in outside Canada, you can apply. So if I talk about this non-express entry pathway, if you are currently working in Saskatchewan, if you have the 6 months working experience with a job approval letter from an eligible employer, you can apply. Let's say, for example, if you're not in Canada, if you are applying from outside Canada, you should have the at least 1 year working experience in the occupation that been offered in the last 5 years. And let's say, for example, if you are currently working in Saskatchewan, there may be sometimes we have seen employer, even though at least you need CLB 5, sometimes employer require higher IELTS. If it is, you have to make that CLB level, even though you are applying for the non-express entry pathway in the tech talent pathway. And the other thing is, there are some occupation, it required a license. Then you need a letter from the regulated professional occupation. For example, if you are a computer engineer, software engineer, and the designers, you need to have a letter from the regulated professional association. So what they do is they're basically going to assess your working experience, how many hours you've been working in past. Then based on that, they're gonna if they are satisfied that you got the eligible skills to perform this job, then they're gonna give you that letter. And also you should have the post-secondary education that related to the job that have been performed, and you have an intention to work and reside in Saskatchewan. And the job offer you receive should be permanent and the full-time job offer, right? These job offers should be a high-skill technology and innovation occupation. For example, for data scientist, cybersecurity specialist, software engineers and designers, software developers and programmers, web designers. So these are the example high-skill jobs basically for the stream. So if I talk about the express entry stream in this tech talent pathway, like the other streams, yes, you should have a express entry profile. And when you have the express entry profile, you have the express entry profile number and the job seeker code. So basically, when you get an express entry profile number and a job seeker code, only if you're eligible to apply for the express entry. And then your English or the French level should be CLB 7. We call the Canadian language benchmark CLB 7. If you're working currently in Saskatchewan, you should have the 6 months working experience. That means 6 months equal to 780 hours full-time, which is 30 hours per week, full-time working experience. So if you're working outside Canada, you should have the 1 year working experience in past 5 years in the job that has been offered. If your occupation require a license, then like I said earlier, you should have the approval letter from the regulated professional association. For example, if you're a computer engineer, software engineers and designers, you need to have this letter. And you should have the education for the job that has been offered. If you are applying from outside Canada, like I said, you should have the best evaluation. Your job offer should be permanent and also a full-time job. Like that. So the same example of jobs categories that I mentioned, data scientists, cybersecurity specialists, software engineers and designers. There are many programs. You can visit the PNP website and all this information are there. So the next one is also another interesting category, occupation in demand. In every provinces, based on their skill shortages, they announce what kind of occupation they mostly need. So if you have a job offer, if you have experience mainly in this category, yes, you can apply. One of a good point is, even though you don't have a job offer, if you have a job offer, which is good, even though you have a job offer, even though you do not have a job offer, they have the point assessment grid, which I'll be sharing later. If you have received 60 points out of 110, then you can apply for this, even though you don't have a job offer. Let's say, for example, you living outside Canada, and also you have proof of the proof like you have the legal status in Canada. You may be outside Canada, you live inside Canada, you can apply for this program. And also, like I said, you should have 60 points out of 110 from the SINP point assessment grid. At least you should have the CLB 4. This is in order to eligible. But if you have higher CLB level, then you'll see that I'll be sharing this assessment grid. Because of higher IELTS, or the higher French qualification, higher CLP, higher PTE code, right? You can increase your points in order to eligible for this stream. And then you should have the diploma or the certificate or a degree, that means your education related to your intended occupation. If you have the education outside Canada, you should have the ECA. You should have minimum 1 year full-time working experience, full-time paid working experience in the skill occupation over past 10 years related to your field of field of education. So education and the occupation should be same level. Working experience is at least 1 year. So if you have more years of working experience, then your points gonna go higher, which you will be eligible, even though you don't have a job offer. But your job should be a skill job. That means tier 0, 1, 2, 3. And also those jobs should be in demand, like the high demand in Saskatchewan. So your working experience must be related to the occupation and also to the education, like I said. So if you need a license, you should be eligible for the licenses. Since if you are applying from outside Canada, you should prove you should have settlement funds, like based on the family size. If you're applying from like a single person or the 2-member family, 3-member family, 4-member family, there are like when you see the list, the list gonna goes up until 7-member families, and then when it's more, they have mentioned in the CIC website, and also you should provide them a settlement plan too, because you'll be coming outside Canada. They have given opportunity for that because they badly need the people who in this occupation. I'll be sharing after this, like all the slides, what are these occupation in demand. So the next one is the Saskatchewan Express Entry. When it comes to this category, here you don't need a job offer in Saskatchewan. Maybe you living in abroad, you living in Canada, still you can apply to that. You should have Express Entry profile and also a job seeker code. You should need a minimum 60 points in on this SINP point assessment grid. Your English or the French qualification should be CLB 7 or higher. And your education should be like related to your intended occupation. Your education should be related to your intended occupation. For education, if it is outside Canada, you should get the ECA. We call the Education Credential Evaluation. That means the WES evaluation. Other thing is your experience in job should not be in the excluded occupational list. I'll share that list also. There are some job categories that has been excluded, that they said we don't need these candidates or the immigrants in this job category. So there is an excluded occupational list as well, and also there is in-demand occupational list as well. So when it comes to the minimum working experience, if you are a skilled professional, right, you need to have the 1 year work experience in past 10 years. That means federal skilled worker. If you are a skilled trade person, federal skilled trade program, you should have the 2 year work experience in the skilled trade in past 5 years. For a Canadian experience, you should have 1 year work experience in Canada in past 3 years for the Canadian experience class. And also, like I said, your work experience should be related to your job and also for the education. Since this stream allows you to apply from outside Canada, you should show the settlement funds and a settlement plan. So when it comes to settlement plan, the province should convince about your settlement plan. Yes, you are genuinely, you want to stay in Saskatchewan. So now we'll talk about what kind of streams available. Let's say, for example, you are working in Canada, you are working in Saskatchewan. Maybe you are on open work permit, maybe you are on LMIA based work permit, maybe you are on mobility francophone work permit, or you may be on Canada Ukraine authorization for emergency travel work permit because of quit work permit. So if you're on this kind of work permits, then what are the streams? I mean, how you can apply for the PR. So let's say, for example, you work in Saskatchewan with a valid work permit. You only need 6 months working experience. You might have noticed when it comes to a province, they're giving priority for students who are workers who are currently in Saskatchewan. You only need 6 months. Otherwise, you need 1 year working experience. So coming back to this stream again. So this job offer should be a permanent full-time job offer from a Saskatchewan eligible employer. You should have a valid work permit issued by the IRCC. Let's say, for example, you working on LMIA base, you working on the mobility francophone work permit, or if you're working on quit work permit, even though your tier level is tier 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That means any tier level that you are working, you can apply to this program. Because they're giving priority for workers who are inside Saskatchewan. But if you're working on another type of working experience, like a work permit, let's say open work permit, your job should be tier 0, 1, 2, 3. Then only you can apply for this program. So the job offer should be, like I said, again, full-time permanent from an Saskatchewan employer. And when you get this job offer, it should be a job approval letter. Your language requirement should be minimum CLB4. Better to get higher CLB level, like I always mention, even from the webinars, even from the videos. So now we'll talk about the other part, which is most of the clients joined for this webinar students. The one of an advantage is, this is very important. Even though you are a student in Saskatchewan, even though you are a student studied outside Saskatchewan, Ontario, BC, Alberta, Atlantic provinces, Manitoba, you can still apply for the SINP. I'll talk about the student graduated from Saskatchewan institutes. If you graduated from a recognized post-secondary institution in Saskatchewan, you can apply. Since Saskatchewan giving priority for students who are inside Saskatchewan, you need only minimum 6 months of paid employment. It's not volunteer. It should be a minimum of 6 months paid employment in Saskatchewan. If you talk about what kind of eligible type of work permit or the work experience need, let's say you work in after your studies done, if you're working on campus, if you are working off campus, other important factor is, which is not usually for the express entry, this is not gonna eligible, even though you are on co-op work permit. You know what you mean co-op means, like your studies are done. Before you get graduated, you can work on your co-op terms. Even that working experience also, you can count towards this working experience. Is very important. Let's say, for example, we had one client came with another place, and they said that even though you work on co-op, you can still count this working experience toward your experience, like Canadian experience class. No, it's not. But in this category, your co-op working experience also gonna count towards for the working experience. And also, let's say, for example, you graduated, like you are a graduate fellowship. If it can be verified from your institution, yes, still gonna be. And also your working experience that you accumulated from your postgraduate work permit, also gonna count towards. But keep in mind this work experience after your studies are done on campus, off campus, co-op, PGWP, then only this work experience count towards that 6 months working experience. And also, you should currently hold a postgraduate work permit. Your job offer from your employer should be a permanent full-time job offer in tier 0, 1, 2, 3 or a designated trade. And also, your related, like your study should, like your field of study and your working experience should be in same level, like the same field. And also when it comes to job offer, this should be a SINP job approval letter from the employer. That means that employer should register with SNIP when they're giving you a job offer. Because the reason why I'm always telling this eligible employers, you should check with the employer whether that employee is eligible. But most of the employers are, yes. And then your language requirement should be minimum CLB4, but better to get, like I always said, higher CLB level. And then the other important factor, most of you may interested, even though you graduated from outside Saskatchewan, maybe you on open work permit, you on PGWP, your PGWP is going to expire, you kind of stressed. We have many students calling us. We try to accommodate all, but I believe this webinar will be so important to you. Even though that you graduated from an institution in Canada, but not Saskatchewan, still you can apply. That means you graduated from a program equivalent to at least one academic year. I know there were many students came to Canada on graduate certificate, which are 8 months. Still, immigration is going to consider it as a 1 year, right? It should be a full-time study from a recognized post-secondary institution in Canada, maybe outside Saskatchewan, that's fine. You currently hold a postgraduate work permit. And also you worked after graduation on your postgrad work permit at least 6 consecutive months of paid employment in Saskatchewan in a job related to your field of education. Let's say, for example, you graduated from BC, but you're working with an employer in Saskatchewan, 6 months related to your job occupation. Let's say, for example, you have an MBA, you move to Saskatchewan, you work at a bank. That's fine. If you have 6 months working experience, if that employer willing to give you a job approval letter, then you can apply to this program. So your job offer should be permanent, full-time. It should related to your studies, and your tier level should be 0, 1, 2, 3. And then you should have intention to reside in Saskatchewan as a permanent resident. And also when it comes to the job approval letter, it should be a valid SINP job approval letter. And also the minimum language requirement is gonna be CLB7. Right? So that's regarding for students. Why this is important? Even though you studied in Saskatchewan, even though you studied outside Canada, still you can. I know that many of the students kind of confused and are stressed about the new immigration rules. I can understand that because I also came to Canada as a student back in 2014. I do understand and I hear you. I understand your situation 100%. As a law firm, as an immigration firm, we're always going to be there to support you. There are small loopholes in the immigration system still, but if any client who joined talk to me or us earlier, I always say earlier there was very direct pathways that you can get PR, but right now there may be kind of ways that you have you should have to find a way to extend your work permits, and till the time your time comes. Yeah, but it always gonna be case by case basis. I know this become a very successful webinar. I saw like even the clients are joining, almost over 220 join, which is good, but will be, I believe, like will be recorded and we'll put it on YouTube as well. Like someone like who missed because of their work or something, or like, and I can see even the clients are joining now, so then they miss the previous explanations and the slides that I did, that you can still watch from the YouTube once we post the video. So stay tuned, guys. So we'll talk about the next one is the entrepreneur program. The one of an advantage is most of the entrepreneur program, there's no age limit. Why this can positive for like this would important. Maybe this might not important for people who join right now. Let's say, for example, that you have your parents outside Canada. You want them to bring in Canada as well. They may have their own businesses. They may be senior managers in some companies. If you have the required investments, required wealth, yes, this will be eligible. If you are struggling to bring your parents, and as you know, like you can bring your parents. This is a little bit out of the way. You can bring your parents on visitor visa. You can bring your parents on super visa, but still they cannot work. But right now they mentioned that even I did a video also. They're not going to conduct the grandparent sponsorship program for this year. Maybe next year, we do not know. This stream might be a good pathway to bring your parents, because this does not require an age, but only for some categories. But when it comes to the entrepreneur category, again, this category for basically for foreign national who wish to obtain or partner in a business in Saskatchewan and they want to actively involve in managing and also reside in Saskatchewan, this program for you. So first, what you have to do is you should, like I said in the beginning, you should provide an expression of interest that a submission to the SINP. Once you receive the invitation, you should do the business establishment, and then you're gonna receive the nomination. Once you receive the nomination, they're gonna provide. You can request for a support letter, which you can apply for the work permit. Support letter usually valid only for 3 months. And based on the support letter, you can apply to that. Let's say, for example, if you could not apply for a work permit within the 3 months, you can request for an extended support letter. You'll be receive another 3 months support letter. Then you can apply for the work permit while your PR is processing. Once you receive the nomination, then you can use the PR portal, which is online for the PR. So in order to eligible for this entrepreneur category, your net worth should be 500,000 CAD. I know it's a huge amount. Then you might think, if I need like the 500,000 CAD in my back home bank account, why I want to come to Canada? This 500,000 should gonna be your net worth. This shouldn't be your liquid money. Let's say you have house, you have stocks, you have jewelries, those kind of things. You can show your net worth. But the investment should be minimum 300,000. But this 300,000 should be, if you're planning to have your venture, if you plan to have your business in Regina or Saskatchewan. But if it is outside these two main cities, you only show just 200,000. There's no age limit, no IELTS requirement, right? But you need to have a 3 years experience in managing a business. So what you should do is, first you create a EOI that will apply for SINP. Once you receive the invitation, you should complete the different sections of your online application. This within 3 months. That means this different section mean they're basically gonna ask to evaluate your net worth from accredited like a valuer. They have list of valuers inside Canada, and also they're gonna value your investments. So those are the documents you mainly should submit. So then you should complete your profile within 3 months. And then you should pay the application processing fees, gonna be 1,250. Then within 6 months of the selection, you should submit a third-party financial verification report. That means they're gonna verify your investments and net worth and everything. And then after that, they're gonna assess your application. Sometimes they might send a request letter or the procedural fairness letter to ask more information. They might conduct interview, virtual interviews like that. So this is regarding the entrepreneur category. Second one is international graduate entrepreneur. Let's say that you studied in Saskatchewan, you own PGWP, you want to run your own business, which I highly recommend, then this program is for you guys. This, like I said, this program is for the interested students who graduating from a Saskatchewan institution, who want to become an entrepreneur. Right? This program mainly for you. So what you can do is you and your family can start, obtain or partner with a business in Saskatchewan and be actively involved in managing the business while you're residing in Saskatchewan, and then you can apply for this program. Your age should be over 21 plus. But for this program, you should show your CLB level, CLB 7, because you graduated from Saskatchewan Institute. You should own and operate a business in Saskatchewan at least 1 year prior to the application. That means while you're doing the application, you should be operating your business. And then you should have a 2-year post-secondary degree in Saskatchewan. And also you should be living in Saskatchewan during the studies. And the main important thing is, when you're gonna apply for your PGWP, you should have 24 months PGWP remaining. I mentioned earlier, you should study in at least 2-year post-secondary degree. That means then only you'll be getting a 1-year PGWP. During 1 year, you'll be running your business. Once your 1 year complete, you can apply for this program. Then you have 2 years remaining. So the steps are, like I said earlier, you should apply for the SINP. Once you receive the invitation, you should complete the different sections of your online application within 3 months. And then they're gonna assess your application. So the last entrepreneur program is mainly for the farm owners and the operator category. This is for individual or the foreign nationals who would like to move to Saskatchewan. They can prove their experience in farming. And then you have considerable capital. That means your net worth should be 500,000. Your investment should be 150,000. You have a plan to buy and run a farm in Saskatchewan. And also you should have the 3 years experience of farm ownership, management, or the practical farming. And you should be able to put 350,000, 75,000 deposit as well. So this program, you don't have to apply for SINP. There's no EOI system for that. They have the list of documents that they need. You can scan documents. You should send those documents to the Saskatchewan province. They have provided separate email address. You can get it from from the website. It is Saskatchewan entrepreneur at gov.sk.ca. Once your application complete and submitted, they're gonna refer your application to a third party for a financial review. They're gonna see about your investment, your net worth, those kind of things. After 12 months of referral to that for the financial review to that third party, you should submit your third party financial verification report, which will be receiving from the third party, right? And if that report meet the criteria, Promise is going to ask you to pay the non-refundable application processing fee of 1,250. So even during this process, if they decided that you're eligible for the work permit support letter, they're going to provide, or otherwise you can inquire. Like I said, this support letter valid for 3 months. And then based on this support letter, you can apply for the work permit. It's going to be a closed work permit. Then you'll be coming to Canada. You'll be starting your business while your PR is processing. So basically, this is regarding, mainly regarding this entrepreneur program. So we talk about the 6 categories for the international workers. We spoke about the workers who are working in Saskatchewan. What are the stream that available for them? For students who have studied in Saskatchewan and the outside Saskatchewan, programs available for them, and for the entrepreneur program. So this is about all the entrepreneur program, all the PNP programs, which is available for you to apply for PR. As you may notice, there are many streams available. That means Saskatchewan badly need people. To be honest, when it comes to Saskatchewan, sometimes some might not agree with me. It's mainly related to the farm. It's kind of very like I don't want to use that word, but kind of a dead land. So most of the people do not wish to stay in that province, but still the province want to attract immigrants from outside Canada, outside provinces. That's how they have this stream. So like I promised earlier, let me see whether I can share the other like the PDF that I wanted to share with you. First, I want to show this this assessment grid. I believe you can see. So when it comes to the education, the marks that you'll be getting. If you have completed a master's, if you have the Canadian equivalency, you're gonna get 23 marks. If it is a bachelor's, you're gonna get 20 marks. So like if you have a trade certification qualification, you're gonna get 20 marks. So like that this is for the education. When it comes to the working experience, right? 1 year, they're gonna consider as the 12 months, right? So if it is 5 years, gonna be 10 marks. If it is 4 years, gonna be 8 marks. If it is 3 years, gonna be 6 marks. 2 years, 4 marks. 1 year, 2 marks. If I talk about the language requirement, which is very important, if your language requirement is, like I said, CLB 8, you're gonna get 20 marks. CLB 7, you're gonna get 18 marks. CLB 6, 16 marks. CLB 5, 14 marks. CLB 4 is 12 marks. So, like I said, even though province asks the minimum language requirement is CLB 4, you better get higher CLB level, which can reach to 20. So if you are applying for the express entry, if you are applying for the in-demand occupation, even though you don't have a job offer, you can achieve these 20 marks, which you need 60 out of 110. If you have the second language, then also you're gonna get these marks. CLB 8, 10 marks, CLB 7, 8 marks, CLB 6, 6 marks, CLB 5, 4 marks, CLB 4, 2 marks. So it's better if you can do another, like, other language, which is French language, which is good. Like if you did the French language, if you are much familiar with the French language, which is you can do TCF or the TEF exam, then you can do IELTS, PTE Co, or the SINP. Other thing is the age. If your age is less than 18, you don't get marks. If it is 18 to 21, gonna be 8 marks. 22 to 34, gonna be 12 marks. So this is the age category that they mostly need, 22 to 34. That's why they're getting 12 marks, the maximum. And then 35 to 45, you're gonna get 10 marks. 46 to 50, you're gonna get 8 marks. So from this factor 1, from your education, from your age, from your work experience, from your language requirement, falls under factor 1. Factor 1, you're gonna get maximum 80 marks. Even though you get higher, then you are safe, you have over 60. Factor 2. Factor 2, what they're gonna see is what is the connection that you have for the labor market and adaptability. Labor market mean if you have a job offer, LMIA, those kind of things. Adaptability is what is a family connection. That means you have an uncle, aunt, so like that. I'll talk about it later too. So when it comes to the this point, if you have a high skill employment offer from a Saskatchewan employer, you're gonna get 30 marks, which is the highest you'll be getting. And let's say, for example, if you have a close family relative in Saskatchewan. Close family relative doesn't mean that your brother, sister who's studying. No, a person should be a permanent resident or a Canadian citizen who living in Saskatchewan. Who are these people? Some streams change these family relatives, but when it comes to Saskatchewan, this is like way lenient. Your parents, siblings, grandparents, aunt, uncle, niece, nephew, first cousin, and the step family members, very important. Step family members or in-laws or same relationship, then you'll be able to get this 20 marks. So, and when it comes to the at least 12 months of working experience in past 5 years on valid work permit. Like let's say, for example, you decided you don't want to stay in Canada, you go back home, but within last 5 years, you have the 12 months working experience in Saskatchewan, you're gonna get 5 marks. Let's say, for example, you studied in Saskatchewan, right? At least 1 full-time academic year, maybe 8 months, that's fine, 1 full-time year, then you're gonna get 50 marks. From the second factor, you're gonna get 30 marks. So altogether, factor 1, you're gonna get 80 marks. Factor 2, you're gonna get 30 marks. Altogether, you're gonna get 110 marks. But you need only 60 marks to eligible to apply for the PNP. And then if I talk about the excluded list, if you're in, they have provided this excluded list in some categories. Sorry, this is the this is the occupation in demand category, which is you can even apply from outside Canada. There's going to be a huge list, which I'm not going to go through. That there's a lot of NOC codes, a lot of occupation Saskatchewan badly needs. So you can see that. And the other thing is, there are 3 pages almost, the occupation. Job offer excluded list. When it comes to job offer, your job offer should not be in this category. Let's say, for example, if you're a monk, the religious leaders not gonna fall under this. So there are some categories as well. I'm not gonna go through this because there's a lot of questions that you get asked, which I have to answer, which will be not so answer. So then I'll not be going through this list again. And like I said, like I promised, this is one of a client who got the PR recently. We applied for the PR. He eligible for the express entry, got the invitation, submit the documents, he got the PR. So this is gonna be those details. And then the other thing is, wanna let you know about this the express entry pool. The recent details. As you can see, there is a provincial nominee came September 7th. So they have sent 471 invitations. The cutoff marks going to be 793, which is on January 7th. I believe, as I remember, that was the first PR draw for this year. Then they got the Canadian experience class. On January 8th, they invited 1,350. Again, on the same month, they did, which is January 23rd, reduced to 527. They invited 4,000, which is going up. And then again, the provincial nominee, February 4th, they invited 802 candidates. That also the provincial nominee. The cutoff was 455. This was the recent one. Express entry, the cutoff mark is 521. They again invited 4,000. As you can see, when it comes to the inside Canada, if you're in the pool, first 442, 527, then 521. You can see the trend is going down. Hopefully, this will go down, and then they in that way, because when it comes to federal program, they're going to give priority. And as Mark Miller said, they're given quotas for provinces, but those quotas are 50% because they want to. Mark Miller want to push provinces to accommodate more immigrants. That's why they're giving half quotas for basically for provinces. So that's regarding that. Let me share the language testing, like I promised earlier. So, like most of the clients, they have kind of a confusion regarding the language test. If you did the if you complete the CLP, this is going to be your CLB level. This is what you should get: reading, writing, listening, or speaking. If you can take a picture while if you can see the screen. And this is what the CLP general, CLP general. If you completed IELTS, this is going to be this is the CLB level. Reading, writing, listening, speaking, this should be. If you completed the PTE core, the CLB level, reading, writing, listening, speaking. This is for the English. If you completed TCF, which is French, this is the level, French level, reading, writing, listening, and speaking. If you complete the TCF,
Mr. Sachira, we can't see the screen.
see. Okay, can you see the screen now? Well, now. Okay, perfect. So Kamadi informed me that you couldn't you guys couldn't see the screen. I'll go from the beginning again. So when it comes to CLPIP general, this is the CLB level. Reading, writing, listening, and speaking. This is the CLB level and what you need to score for reading, writing, listening, and speaking. And when it comes to IELTS general, CLB level with the writing, reading, listening, and speaking. When it comes to PTE core, CLB level, reading, writing, listening, and speaking. So you can see when you complete your English requirement in order to get an idea about what is your CLB level. For the French qualification, this is the French level, reading, writing, listening, and speaking. And then when it comes to the TCF, which is the other language requirement, the French level and the reading, writing, listening, and speaking. So this is the language requirement. Basically, that you can get an idea once you complete it and once you receive the results. In order to get an idea about your CLB level, this is regarding that. So, believe this is the end of the session before we going to the for the questions. I'll get Ms. Kaumadi to take over from here before we going to the Q&A.
Thank you, Mr. Sachera, for a wonderful session. I think I'm audible to everyone. So we have got about, I believe, 30 questions today to answer. And we would invite Mr. Sachera again to go through the questions and answer as many as possible. And if in case if the time runs out or some problem comes up and we won't be able to answer your question, don't get frustrated, don't trouble yourself. Our team will reach out to you and we will be setting up consultations for you so that all your questions will be answered. We will be sharing our contact details as well. So if anyone has any problem which crosses your mind later on, feel free to email us. Our email address is contact@ardentcanada.com. I will post on the chat. So you all can make note of the email address and can drop us emails. Make sure to include your updated CVs when you are emailing us, so we can look at your profile and provide better insights on what possible pathways are available for you to migrate to Canada or to apply for PR. So I will pass the platform to Mr. Sachera again so that the questions can be answered. Mr. Sachera?
Okay. I believe you guys can hear me. Can someone put in chat whether
we can hear you. We can hear you.
Okay, perfect. So one client asked how to choose the NOC. If we have a tier 4 job title like the customer service executive, but performing the duties of tier 3 category, collection officer, and will I be eligible? So when it comes to this NOC, it's really, really important. You should refer to the NOC website. So what you can do is you can go to the NOC website, and then first or second website, they mention they asking about it directing to the NOC category, NOC website. When you go to the NOC website, you can see the job duties and also the main statement, title statement, and also the example like the job occupation. So in order to select the correct NOC, from the job duties, 80% of your job duties should be in your experience letter or the letter of employment, or we can say job reference letter. If it is, then it is good. The selecting the NOC is really, really important. This one way, even that you can, PR can be rejected. We have seen and we have represented those kind of clients because they have chosen the wrong NOC. So like more than the job occupation name, like when it comes to the outside Canada, most like some companies, they have their own naming for their job occupation. Main thing is the job duties. If the 80% of job duties goes with that occupation, then it's safe. So it should be really, really careful when it comes to the PR, when you're choosing the NOC. And there's another client asked, I'm a civil engineer professional with 10+ year working experience. So could I apply for the Saskatchewan PR? Yes, you can. You can contact us. We can do a in detail consultation to see how your working experience and everything. But if you're working in this civil engineering profession, yes, because it's mostly under construction field. Federal government has cut BC PNP nomination now 50% for 2025. Yes. What the SINP allocation for 2025? Yes. What they did, federal government cut 50% for most of all the provinces, they are basically their nominations. So then it same goes to Saskatchewan as well. So I'm currently in Ottawa and working as a food service supervisor till 24 October. Let's imagine this is from 2024 October. Will you do the endorsements PR or do people for people who are already in Canada? When it comes to the endorsements, it only for the AIP program, Atlantic Immigration Program, because there's no AIP. There are some provinces they do not provide for the endorsements for those job categories. For example, if you go to the New Brunswick, which we are heavily doing AIP, they specifically said that some of the food industries they do not provide the endorsements. So it depending on the province. And then can you please explain the demand for accounting job in SINP? Yes, I believe it's in the in demand list. To be honest, I don't have the in demand list in my mind, but you have to check the in demand list. But usually those kind of occupation, yes, but don't trust me for that one. You have to go through the in demand list. I mean, no one gonna memorize the those lists, so we have to check that one. So what if they're not going to accept application from accounting occupation as an Atlantic program announced? So let's say, for example, you live in one of an Atlantic province, and then they do not accepting for the Atlantic Immigration Program, which is AIP. Then you can apply for the provincial nominee program. For example, they have experience program, they have job offer programs, so you can apply for the PNP. So in Tech Talent Pathway webpage, under the non-experience subcategory, my occupation is the application developer, is in the high skill technology occupation list. The page indicates that you may qualify for subcategories if you live outside Canada or have proof of the legal status in Canada. I'm on spousal open work permit and working for my employer from Kelowna, BC since 2023 October with permanent full-time job offer. I have met all requirements, but I did receive the SINP job approval letter. You need the job approval letter because job approval letter can only provide from an eligible employer. You should check that from the employer. Is the JL accepted from the high skill technology occupation list? Am I not eligible? This, like most of all the employers should provide the job approval letter. It's a must. So you have to check with that employer and check with the province why you have not received the JAL. So then you have to take actions to get the JAL. First, you check with the employer first. I believe you mentioned you have an employer. So if it is, then you should be eligible. First, check with the employer, then with the province. I believe this is something that you will need a consultation. You can contact us, which is a really good question. I know there are some of our clients also on the same page. So I'm currently on open work permit holder as a spouse of an international student, and I have applied for Saskatchewan Immigrant Nominee Program under the employment offer, existing work permit category. My open work permit valid till 2025 April, which is a tough situation. I would like to inquire if there's any pathway to extend my open work permit until I obtain my permanent residence. I know there are many people on this category. Maybe most of them are hearing too right now. But basically, when it comes to this, in order to extend your open work permit, one way is if you could find an LMIA, maybe if it is an open LMIA, good. if it is an LMIA, you can convert your open work permit to a closed work permit. Let's say, for example, as you may aware, like for LMIA, you should run the job postings basically for 1 year, sorry, 30 days, and then apply for the LMIA. Right now, the LMIA gonna get like about around 7 to 8 months. One of a trick that you can do is you can ask your employer to contact the Services Canada after 3-4 months, or contact like try to connect with an MP, parliamentarian. Then they can get their support. They can inquire from the Services Canada if it is after 3-4 months. And the other way is from a LMIA submission letter, you can extend your open work permit. Like you apply for the closed work permit with the submission of the LMIA submission. And once you receive the LMIA, you can submit the LMIA through a web form, but you'll be getting a closed work permit in that way. So then you can extend your current open work permit. And then can a student who is currently a master's student related to management, is it possible to apply for Agri Talent Pathway? When it comes to the Agri Talent Pathway, your job occupation should be related to your job position. So then mostly you will not be able, but because the master's is not related to the job occupation that they have announced. Is a pathway to get PR for personal support worker who done MBA and done certificate course in Ontario. When it comes to the personal support worker, which is, I believe you're asking about the program that gonna come in action on 31st of March. So if you have the working experience, if you have if any like an individual person who's willing to give you a job offer, right? Yes, regardless of your work studies, yes. But I would recommend try to have kind of like 6 months studies in that area as well. It will be increase the possibility of approval, because what down the road, not just the job offer. On the other hand, immigration officer also should convince that you have skill training and education to perform that job. So the other one is, can you please provide acceptable courses or the certificate needed to work as a caregiver worker or a nanny? There are caregiver program. There are program. Actually, I did a webinar. I did a video regarding that. You can check on our YouTube channel. Like there are program for dementia, those kind. But specifically, there are 6 months or 1 year, 2 year caregiver program that you can do, which gonna eligible for the caregiver. So that's regarding that. If I nominated under Saskatchewan like SINP through the job approval letter, my employment is terminated before I get the permanent residency. Will my SINP nomination or the PR application be cancelled? It can negatively affect. Because I mean, at least by the time you receive the like during the at least the nomination process, you should have the job. Because if you do not have like before the nomination receive, if your job terminated, it can negatively affect. But if you apply for the PR, kind of 50-50, still your PR can be approved, but still there's a risk. But during the nomination process, you should have the job. There were some questions asked about the other programs also. Since you spent your time in joining with us, hearing to the webinar, as a courtesy, still I'll answer this. So still, is the home child care worker is an on-arrival PR program? No, it is not. It's a they announced that there's a program they're going to introduce for the on-arrival PR, but this program is different. This program is a pilot project that's what's happening for the last couple of years. It's supposed to start on January 1st. That happened last few years, but then they did not open this program on January 1st. So then they announced they're going to open on 31st of March. But every year they have a quota around 2,500 applications or 2,750 applications. Once that numbers reach, then they're gonna close down. I believe it's last year they opened on January, and the January 17th program closed. There's a previous year they opened on January 1st. I believe same day they closed the application. So there's a huge demand for that program. So that's regarding that. I'm an international student pursuing 2-year diploma in cybersecurity on Ontario. I shall graduate in 2025 December. I have completed PSW. Just started working as PSW. I have a 10 years experience in IT as system and networks administrator. My highest level of education in master computer science in outside Canada. There's a pathway for Miss Saskatchewan. You can go with the basically you can go with the in-demand occupation. If you get a job offer, you can still go with the tech pathway. If you get a job offer, you can still basically go with the healthcare pathway. So there are different streams available for you. Age limit for caregiver. In none of the program, when it comes to caregiver work permit, they don't specifically say age limit, but I would recommend based on my experience, below age of 40 would be recommended. Can nurse apply for a caregiver program? Yes, definitely you can. And then I'm currently living outside Canada, looking to apply for a healthcare pathway. Do I need a valid job offer from the Saskatchewan? Yes, you need a mostly. You will need a job offer from an eligible employer in Saskatchewan. Student in Regina University, Saskatchewan, currently pursuing a diploma in health. Under caregiver pilot program, can I apply even I'm a student if I get a job offer? If you are a student, no, you will not be eligible because your status is student. But let's say, for example, you accumulated working experience as a worker, yes, you will be able, even though you have a job offer. This is kind of a tricky situation. You can contact us for a consultation. For a student category, if a student work several part-time in different paths, does that count for 6 months working experience? The part-time work experience do not count towards, unfortunately, for the working experience. There are some streams in BC, if you work part-time, like let's say, for example, if you work part-time for 2 years, they're going to consider as 1 year, but in Saskatchewan, unfortunately not. Someone asked about this eligible registered employer. Yes, when you go to the website, they have the list of employers who are eligible. One way, other ways you can check from the employer. Second way, third way, you can contact the province. When it comes to provinces, they are really good at answering. I mean, the best way is the email rather than calling. But if you could get hold one of an officer or someone from the PNP office, yes, they can give you the information. Otherwise, you can provide your email address for them to send you the link. There's another person says, I'm on PGWP, living in BC, working as a bookkeeper. I have 10 years later working experience. What is your opinion on moving to Saskatchewan? If you have a job offer, yes, it's a good pathway. I mean, it's a good way. I know some clients have hard time of getting PR in BC. So after getting PR, how many years you should live in Saskatchewan? I will not answer for this question because, like I mentioned, all the streams you should sign like a commitment, an intention to work and stay in Saskatchewan. So this is kind of contradictory. I will not answer, but be honest to the immigration because that province give you PR. So be honest to the immigration. That's my advice regarding that. So as a lawyer, I'm not. I mean, if I took you a little bit more as a lawyer, I'm not allowed to give. I would say any advice against the law. So it's something you have to decide. So I'm outside Canada, working as a nurse, 10 years working experience, bachelor's, PT course CLB 6. Good. What pathway? So if you're a nurse, you can apply for the AIP program, which is high demand, and you can apply for the LMIA to come to Canada on work permit. In many provinces, you have the even in Saskatchewan, you have the healthcare pathways, so you can apply for those programs. And also caregiver pilot also gonna work for you. Let's say, for example, a family, they got their parents who are on PR, old people. They do not have a way to take care of them, and if they're willing to give a job offer, if that individual family, that family has good income, like I would say over 100,000, 150,000 CAD based on their notice of assessment when they file taxes, yes, they can give you a job offer. I have a I'm a master degree holder with more than 10 years. And also I'm a caregiver in Sri Lanka and UK level 3 with experience in reputed private hospital. Easiest pathway. If you have master's degree, you can apply for the, if you're inside Canada, no, you have not mentioned that. So let's say, for example, if you're inside Canada, you can apply for the Canadian experience class. But if you're outside Canada, I would say, since you're working as a caregiver, you can apply for a LMIA-based work permit, AIP program, and also the healthcare program in Saskatchewan. For industrial graduate entrepreneur program, specific investments, yes, which I mentioned in the program. When it comes to investments, I always recommend, even though program do not provide much, like around like 200,000, 300,000, like that. When it comes to your age, should be 21 plus, CLB 7, graduated in Saskatchewan, 2-year program, 3-year PGWP. So while you're working 1 year, yes. When it comes to the investments, I would recommend go like 100,000, 150,000, 200,000. It basically can increase when they assessing your application. Higher possibility that you can receive. Basically, you can receive the like approval or a positive decision. So then there's another person says, I got this from SINP eligibility assessment. There's this underlying points count on any job category for previous years. I was working in Sri Lanka as a skilled worker, civil technologies. Okay. What I would recommend is, since you have sent us an attachment, I would recommend email us these details. We can do a consultation. Because I'll have to go through these documents that you have provided, which is not visible in the Excel sheet, unfortunately. But contact us, we can do a consultation for you to give a proper advice. I'll give you a little bit an idea about how we handle consultation for you to get an idea. Once you contacted us, one of our consultants would get back to you, and then they will do an initial assessment. In the initial assessment, they're gonna get all the initial information, and then when I'm coming to the paid consultation, I have all the information that I need to give you the proper advice. When it comes to immigration, I'll be honest with you, it's a huge, vast area. None of us, even a lawyer, even a consultant, we do not keep this information on our mind. So what we do is, based on the client's situation, we can go through and find viable streams which is going to work for you, because as a law firm, we are receiving very complex situation. Then we'll be able to give you the proper advice. When it comes to immigration, do not expect to get a very direct answers right away, because we have to assess your case. Then only we can give you the proper advice. That's going to be your purpose of contacting us, because we are not an agency, we are a law firm. The other thing is, what are the supporting documents for the caregiver program and the content letter. This is the best thing is, watch that video. I have specifically mentioned in order to provide your working experience, what are the documents? This documents list is different from when you are applying from outside Canada, when you are applying inside Canada. So you can check that video to get more information. I have a food and beverage supervisor job offer in Saskatchewan. My profile is 7+ year in IT, MBA in BC, 2-year experience as an admin assistant in BC. Yes, you will be eligible for the for the in-demand category or the other PNP streams. Believe you need 1 year working experience. And then can you please explain about the rural community immigration program? Okay, so when it comes to the rural community immigration program, what they did, they introduced. I mean, this program was already in place earlier. We call the rural like RNIP, Rural Northern Immigration Pilot Program, but that program was discontinued last year. Then they brought this program with a different name in Saskatchewan, Manitoba, Ontario, BC, and Alberta. They have chosen very rural communities. And if you reside in that towns, if you have a job offer, then you can apply for that program. Even for the rural community program, we have done a video. You can watch that videos. As an law firm, guys, we always updated, and also we always bring those videos. I know, like, we cannot, specifically call you guys, okay, guys, this is a program like this, you can apply. No, we cannot do like that practically. So then what we do is we do videos like that, and also we have a different WhatsApp platform for our clients. I know I saw the most of our clients join today. They are in that platform, which will be sharing those updates. In that way, I know when you're busy with your work, studies, and everything, you might not aware about those updates. But as a firm, we need to keep you guys updated. What are the new updates are coming? In that way, we and us and you guys can plan your immigration pathway, which is getting your PR for the future. And then I was on closed work permit for 18 months, started a new job with a new employer on another closed work permit in Jan 2025. Those are two different NOCs code, but job duties are almost same. Can I apply for the PR? Yes. If it is a skill job, yes, you can. Skill job in tier 0, 1, 2, 3. I'm working in Canada and a seasonal worker for 15 years, but right now I changed my status to construction laborer in BC. I got 2-year contract. Can I apply for the PR? If it is seasonal worker, hard time apply for the PR. But the other thing is, since you change your job position for the construction laborer, you in BC, there's a program for unskilled worker, which is the low skilled workers. You need only nine months working experience to apply to that. Then you will be eligible. What I always recommend is apply to whatever the stream that you are eligible. Do IELTS or CELP or the French language requirement. Create the profile as soon as possible, and then update the profile with the time in with higher IELTS. For this client, yes, you can apply even in BC. Yeah, you can apply. But in Saskatchewan, there's a less possibility. So I'm 33 years old. I have 2-year diploma in motor maintenance. But I only have 4-year working experience as a heavy machinery and a forklift operator in Japan. I also hold Japanese citizenship. Can I apply from this? Yes, you can. When it comes to motor mechanic, this is gonna be a skill job. Yes, you can apply. Even you'll be eligible for the skilled trade program as well. While working in BC, can I apply for EOI in BC PNP, SINP? This is very interesting. Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. While working on BC, when you apply for the other provinces, what province is gonna see is, while you staying in other province, if you are applying for different provinces, there's a less possibility you can receive the invitation, because immigration, no, you can apply for all the provinces and then you're going to go to the province that which is come, you're not genuine. So don't do that. So it can negatively affect. Sometimes you might not even receive the invitation. Like regarding this, there are provinces like for example, Manitoba will be like hosting another webinar, I believe on first week of March for Manitoba PNP, especially for Manitoba. If you are outside Canada, like outside the other provinces, you're gonna lose 200 points from the Manitoba PNP. They're gonna give priority for the workers and the students who are inside in Manitoba. But if you're outside Winnipeg, you're gonna get you're gonna get more marks. I got my PR through Manitoba PNP. Easy PNP like Saskatchewan, but if you are working and if you're studying in Manitoba. So I have already submitted my application for Saskatchewan, like SINP, under existing worker category. Based on my 6 months work experience in Saskatchewan, I'm currently awaiting nomination. Once I receive my SINP nomination, will there be an option to extend my open work permit? Yes. What you can do is you can request from the province work permit support letter. The province can provide you. Basically, province can provide you that. Support letter, I believe, valid for 6 months. Then based on that, you can extend it. If anyone have experience in Sri Lanka as a manager, receive a job offer from Canada, account or bookkeeper, any possibility go under manager category. There was no manager category I mentioned about. But if you have a job offer, accounting and bookkeeper, there are skill trades, the skill international skill worker subcategories that basically you can apply if you have a job offer. I believe this is the last question out of almost 50 questions that we have answered. I'm working in finance sector under my PHWP. If I get a job offer from the Saskatchewan finance company, will I be eligible to apply for an international graduate pathway? International graduate pathway. Should my employer support it? I believe this name is a little bit confusing for me. International graduate pathway is in BC, not in SINP, I believe. But still, you're gonna be if you have a job offer, yes, you can apply. Yes, your employer should support. They should provide you a JL, job approval letter. So I believe I have answered all the questions. If it is like most of the questions that almost ask us. Any other question, guys, you guys have, you can contact us, send us an email. And also, I'll be inviting you guys to join with our next webinar, mostly going to be on March 1st week on Manitoba PNP. And then after that, we'll be hosting for Alberta nominee. But again, coming back to the Saskatchewan program webinar. So any question you have regarding this, any specific question, you can contact us. We can basically we can support you during your PR process. I know most of you guys who are planning to come to Canada, who are already in Canada, to get the PR. As a law firm, we will be supporting you till your end to achieve your end goal. I know you're all going to be on a very stressed situation, maybe because of the new rules being introducing, but still, there are small loopholes for eligible. I would say again, eligible candidates to apply for the PR. Over to Kamadi.
Okay. Am I audible? You can hear me, right? Yes. Okay. Right. So, thank you to everyone for making the time today to join with us. We hope you learned something, you gathered new information, and your questions were answered. If there are any other questions left, or maybe after you leave the webinar, something might cross your mind, please feel free to drop us an email or connect us via WhatsApp. We have posted our contact details on the slide as well as on the chat, so you can grab the information from there. We know Canadian immigration has gotten tougher, like looking back about for the past maybe 4 to 5 years, it's getting tough by the day. And we are being inquired by a lot of people who have families, especially who wish to bring their spouses and kids into Canada. They are feeling they are facing difficult situations. So if any of you guys are in a difficult situation like that, you are in Canada, maybe even outside Canada, do drop us an email so we can look into your profiles and then suggest what the best possible scenario for you is, because we won't be able to discuss your personal details or personal profiles on a public platform. That's why we urge you to send us your updated CVs. If you all are married, send both yours and your spouse's CV as well. So if one spouse is not eligible for a program, we can see if the other spouse would be eligible. That way we will be able to help you better to secure your PR and Indian Canadian citizenship. So like Mr. Sashana said, this is just one chapter of our webinar series, Road to PR with Ardent. We will be hosting our next episode on the Manitoba PNP. Do join us. We will be posting or publishing the details very soon. So keep a lookout for that and do join us. Bring in your questions and we will be able to help you to gather more insights on other PNP pathways available as well. So again, thank you everyone for joining today. For those who are in Canada, we wish you a very good night. And for those who join us from Sri Lanka, we hope you have a fantastic day ahead. And we already saw most of y'all are emailing us, so thank you for that. And we hope to continue providing services to you to our maximum capacity so that you all can make sure your dream of settling in Canada is fulfilled. So do keep in touch with us. I hope to, I also want to thank our team for a fantastic webinar, successful webinar organized today. Everyone behind the curtain, and to each and every one of you, thanks for joining us today again. So take good care of yourselves. We'll meet during our next webinar on Manitoba PNP.